right, ladies and gentlemen, the September 13th, 2023 meeting of the Municipal Code Enforcement Board is now called to order. If everyone would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. And turn on your mics. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Where's that guy who says you are?
Make sure, I'm as guilty as anybody, make sure your mics are on.
Yes.
On?
Thank you.
All mics on.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Municipal Code Enforcement Board is charged with conducting hearings to determine whether an alleged violation of the city code has occurred. Decisions made by this quasi-judicial board will be based on the evidence and facts presented this evening. Our meetings are conducted in accordance with Robert's Rules of Order, and each case will begin with the city presenting its evidence of the alleged violation. The respondent will then present his or her case. Both parties will have an opportunity to cross-examine all witnesses. Board members may ask questions of any witness. Comments by both parties must be relevant to the case. Persons wishing to speak will be given an opportunity to do so by the chair and must address the board from the podium after giving their name and address. Upon request, copies of materials submitted by staff are available for review. Board members are reminded to obtain permission to speak from the chair, and any questions of the city should be directed to the attorney for the city. This time, I'd like to ask all persons who expect to give testimony tonight to please stand and be sworn in by the clerk. Hey, Dave, why don't you slide down?
You smell funny.
Not yet.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony or evidence you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I mean, take his chair.
All right. I'll be Brian for the night.
Yeah.
Switch tags. Switch it.
Switch the tags, yeah.
I didn't want to make a production out of it. Whoops.
We're all about production.
Sorry, man.
We're all about production.
Oh, Brian's fault anyway.
Okay, we got everybody sworn in?
I don't know if we'll skip this here, but maybe not.
Got everybody sworn in?
Except
Okay.
the person who just.
So this, first item of our business is ex parte communications. This time I'd like to ask the board members if they've had any ex parte communications regarding any matters coming before the Code Enforcement Board this evening. If you've had verbal communications, please disclose the sum and substance of the communications, when and where the communications occurred, and with whom it occurred. If you have received any written communications, please disclose the nature of the communications and provide a copy to the city clerk for to be filed in the record. Gene?
I have had none.
I've had none.
I've had none.
I've had none.
Thank you. Minutes of the regular meeting held on August 9, 2023. All board members have had a chance to review, I assume?
Yes.
If there's no changes or edits, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No nays? Motion carries. Okay, we're going to, as per our usual, we are going to be switching around tonight.
Of course we are.
Our first case, which will be, I believe, the last case on your agenda. It should be case number 235-00141.
Okay. Case number 2350141, City versus Shanahan Properties LLC for the property located at 12601 North 56th Street. The case is before the board based on an alleged violation of Section 8-56A, fire alarm not operational. The case will be prosecuted this evening by Fire Inspector Cletus Squires. The city has evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were properly served.
Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board. My name is Cletus Squires, Fire Inspector for the City of Temple Terrace Fire Department. This case was initiated by myself while conducting a primary annual inspection dated on June 22nd, 2023 at the given property. It was determined at that time that the fire alarm system was in violation of City Municipal Code Section 856A. The property owner, Mr. Yusuf Sajahan, was sent a copy of the inspection report and given 30 days for corrective action. On 7/27, I followed up with the inspection of the property. It was determined that the fire alarm system had not been serviced and the panel was indicating that the system was in trouble mode. Inspection report was sent to the owner via email. On 8/16 to 2023, I revisited the property, conducted an inspection again of the fire alarm system. The system still was not in compliance. At that time, I issued a notice of violation and gave the owner until August 28th of 2023 to make any corrections. When I revisited the property on August 28th, it was still not in compliance. I issued a notice of hearing. At this time, I'd like to present photo evidence. I may approach.
Well, let's wait for any. Casey wants to look at it first.
Okay.
It'll only be a minute. He wanted to present his photo evidence. I didn't want to do it without you. That's okay. See how important you are? Thank you.
Okay, so it's just two photos. Exhibit 1 shows the most recent fire inspection tagged by the contractor. It was dated in April of 2022. It's required by code to be serviced every 12 months. So there's a violation there. And the second picture shows the actual panel, and it's indicating that the panel's in trouble mode on the second exhibit. I spoke with Mr. Yusuf by phone, and he stated that all corrections will be made prior to tonight's meeting. As of approximately 1:30 today, I stopped by the property, and the property is still not in compliance.
Thank you. Any questions for the, what is your title?
Fire inspector.
Fire inspector. Any questions for the fire inspector?
Where is this system located?
It's located, it's for the whole plaza of the University Plaza is, I think, the name of the plaza as far as the street name, North 56th Street. And the panel works the whole building, and it's located inside the salon.
It's one of the units.
Correct. But the panel's there, but the system protects both buildings. Okay? So it's all inclusive for everybody. They don't have independent panels in each business like some of our businesses do.
I'm not familiar with this. I wanted a little bit more explanation. What does it do? Does it have a sprinkler system in the place?
So those buildings are not sprinkled. They have just the fire alarm only. And it alerts and notifies in case of a fire to evacuate the building. And also when the building is non-occupied, it has smoke detectors throughout that would notify at midnight and alert the fire department that there was an issue at the property so they can protect the property.
So when there's a fire, there's an audible alarm and a alarm gets sent directly to the fire department.
The alarm is monitored by a monitoring company.
Okay.
Notifies the
And they
fire
call,
department.
okay,
Yes.
okay, okay.
Yes.
That
And
monitoring.
that's by code.
Oh, maybe the questions will go to Yusuf. That monitoring of this system is it's like you buy the system and put it in, and it's monitored by a company like ADT or something like that.
So with the fire being its life safety, it's a little different from a burglar system, which you could do as much or as little as you want to do with your burglar. Being this is life safety, there's code requirements. So a contractor has to install it. It's something that you can't buy yourself and install on the fire alarm. A contractor has to do, a certified contractor, it's called FASA, BASA, has to do the service of the system for the annual service. And the monitoring company has to be a UL listed rated company in order to do the monitoring of the service.
Okay.
Has to be 24/7 dispatch. Like with a lot of burglars nowadays, you can get the notifications on your phone and things like that. That does not work for a fire alarm. It has to be a UL listed rated dispatch center located wherever, as long as they meet the requirements. And then they notify the local jurisdiction, right?
Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions for, go ahead.
What does trouble mode mean?
It means that there's, it should be in normal, mode, which is showing that it works right, is what I would say. So, without testing the system and doing the service, it could
It ain't
be
working.
from low batteries, a circuit, in the system. It's not an alarm, but there's trouble. Could be from a power surge from one of our recent, weather events that we had. So,
So it's possible that it could fail to perform one of the duties that.
well, absolutely, that's why the tech needs to go out there and service.
Yeah, well, in
service.
trouble mode, it won't perform its duties.
At all.
Well, it could or could not.
Okay, okay.
Right,
so it's
right,
fine.
right. Yeah, so it's not operating, sort of like, until it gets analyzed. It's sort of like when your dashboard lights up and indicates that there's something wrong with your vehicle when you're driving down the road, right? It requires some.
But the code requires that it definitely works, not
Right.
if it works. Maybe it works.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
and a lot of times, a trouble will tell you, but they've had it on silence and cleared out for so long. We've had some false alarms there recently since I've started this process, and they put it on silence because it came in after hours and my guys went in, so I can't see. But a lot of times, it could be something as simple as, like they lose connectivity with the monitoring company and phone line, but usually that would indicate that and not trouble. It'll say phone line.
Gotcha.
So this says NAC, which is a notification.
Right, and they have to have a certain service company come out and check that. They can't just go in and replace the battery or something, right?
That's correct. He's got to be a certified,
Go ahead.
Do we have a
technician.
rough idea of what the cost to the city is to send emergency services out for a false alarm routinely for a failing system like this?
I don't think we have I don't know, that would have to be for the fire department to know. I know that we're kind of looking into that system. I know that it's a $25 fee right now, but I think there's,
That's for police.
And maybe there's certain numbers of false alarms, and after that kicks in.
Well, either way, it represents.
Well, hey, hang on.
That's-
We're gonna- One at a time, get recognized. Can you, is there a way, do you know the answer to that question?
Yeah, so they did already initiate that along with the police on the false alarms. So after 3 false alarms, they start charging, and I do believe it's a $25 fee sent to the owner of the property.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions for fire inspector? Nope. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Is the respondent here? Did you want to come up and speak? Yes. Okay. Name and address for the record, please.
Yusuf Sajahan, address 12601 North 56th Street. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, for giving us the opportunity to stand before us. As Mr. Cletus did state that, yes, the property was serviced. It was not serviced at the time. We did reach out to the monitoring company to get an update on what was to happen. The day that I did call Mr. Cletus, it was on a Monday. That was the same week that we were supposed to get it serviced, but unfortunately, we were hit by the hurricane and needed to give an extension. I do have a letter from the company that they are currently working on getting it up to speed by this week. The only thing I request at this point in time is to have an additional extension for 1 week at most, but we should be able to have everything up to speed by tomorrow or by Friday. I do have a letter from the security company to validate this, if that's something I'm able to present as evidence, if I may approach.
Right. We'll accept it. Thank you. So by the end of next week, you think it'll all be taken care
It
of?
should have been taken care of last week, but it's just because they had so many of the hurricane problems.
So you think by the end of by,
Yeah, absolutely. I'm confident they should be done by this week, but just for hypothetical purposes, I'm only asking for 1 week of its
any
extension.
questions for the respondent?
I do.
Sure, go ahead.
When was the inspection actually?
When was it? Every 12 months, typically, and that's based off of the company themselves. So we've been operating with this company for the last 10 years, so we've never had an issue. This is our first time running into the issue with the city and ourselves. So it was just a miscommunication as well. And we were switching over to different payment methods as well with the company. So that also played an additional task. But the system itself is operational. It's just it doesn't have the certification that is required for the city, and that's what we plan on updating hopefully by this
If
week.
you look at the timeline, the last inspection was April 2022. So, so it should have been done in April 2023. They found it was not working in June of 2023.
Right.
And it hasn't been working since. So I don't know when it broke, but we know at least it should have been inspected in April, it wasn't. And in June, that's when the city found out that it wasn't working.
So us as the owner, we're not aware about any of this. We put this to the third party, and we just pay them as a fee to monitor our system, and if anything comes down to it, they typically take care of it. So it was just a miscommunication on both sides of the party that unfortunately this is one of the only few examinations that we've ever failed with the city, because we've owned and operated the business for the last decade. And this is our first infraction when it comes down to this type of violation. So, we apologize for not being up to code, but obviously, we're trying to get everything resolved within this week.
Go ahead.
How many tenants do you have?
Currently, we have, there's 13 units, and there's roughly about 7 tenants.
What's the foot traffic look like? Do you have any idea?
Majority of it, we have restaurants, takeout. We have a karate as well, so
That's got a lot of kids in it, right?
it does.
Just one more question. You said that it's operational, just doesn't have city certification on it. How do you know? Did you do some independent work at an independent?
No, not at all. No, we haven't done any form of independent work since the formation of that building that we've constructed ourselves. We've been operational with this company since then, so we have a decade of information with them. So we have never any issues. If you have any additional questions for the company themselves that are monitoring, we do provide that contact if necessary.
Well, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the responsibility of maintaining code is on the owner of the building.
Yeah, that's the owner's.
So,
Okay.
I'm good.
Any other questions? Go ahead.
Yusuf, what's the deal about the false alarm? Are you aware of that, or?
So the false alarm typically happens when a new tenant is coming into the building and they're doing a lot of the rework, and unfortunately, if the dust particles starts going up, that's what will actually send out a false alarm. That is the only issue that we do have with that when it came down to constructing the building, but that's when it comes down to dust. Other than that, we haven't had any form of, based off of our knowledge, thankfully, that there has been any form of false fires. But the only time that we've noticed that we've had any form of false alarm is just any of the tenants doing rework on the property, specifically within their own units. A lot of the dust particles is what activates it.
It's actually functional. The false alarm will be triggered is because if it's not working, or because of the dust.
Yeah, bottom
Dust
line
is
bottom
kind
line
of
is
like
showing it's whether it's working or not, it's
Yeah.
got a trouble code. The trouble code is
Yeah.
its code violation. So, any other questions? Thank you, sir. Okay, seeing no other questions, I'll entertain a motion.
Okay.
Thank you.
In case number 23-500141, I move that the city has proven by, has proven by a greater weight of the evidence the following violations of the City of Temple Terrace Code exist on the property located at 12601 North 56th Street, and that is section 8-56, subsection A, fire alarm not operational. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from the, fire inspector, Cletus. Along with any other evidence, including photos, affidavits, and the notice of violation, all of which is received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further remove that the said violations be corrected on or before our next meeting, October 11th. If the respondent does not comply with this order on or before that day, they are ordered to pay a fine for each and every day the violation continues past the date set for compliance. Upon considering the following factors, the gravity of the violation, any actions taken by the violator to correct the violation, and any previous violations committed by the violator, I move that the fine be $250 per day.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No nays. Motion carries. So, sir, you've been found in violation of the code. You have until October 11th to bring it into compliance. If it's not brought into compliance by October 11th, a fine of $250 per day will begin to accrue. Okay? But you should be good since you said next week, so. Thank you. Thanks for coming in, appreciate it. Next case will be, gentlemen and ladies, it will be case number 23-3292.
Case number 233292, City versus Sandy Jimenez for the property located at 8608 Grandview Drive. The case is before the board based on an alleged violation of Section 828A1, permits application required. The case will be prosecuted this evening by Code Compliance Officer Jose Silva. The city has evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were properly served.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. Code Board, Jose Silva, Code Compliance Officer. This case originated June 29, 2023. Community Development requested a notice of violation to be issued for the open stop work order at the residence. The resident was originally posted with a stop work order on December 7, 2022 for an accessory structure gazebo that was erected in the rear yard. This time I completed notice violation with complaint dated July 13, 2023. I posted notice at the home as well as City Hall. Also mailed copies, both certified and regular mail, to the registered owner. On July 7, 2023, was contacted by Luisa Alonso, who advised she was a contractor and was requesting additional time to obtain the permit. An extension was granted until July 31st, 2023. July 31st, 2023, checked with Community Development, ascertained no permit was obtained. This time the property is out of compliance. I'd like to submit photographic evidence, notice posted at the door, the gazebo in the rear yard, along with the stop work order.
We'll accept that, thank you.
And our building official is here, Dallas Foss, and he can answer any questions regarding the gazebo.
Well, the gazebo is not the problem, it's the fact they don't have a permit to build it.
Excuse me,
The gazebo itself is not the problem, it's the
permit.
lack of permit.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice gazebo. Come do it on my property.
So it's already completed and built? Can I speak, David?
Yes.
Is it completed and
Yes, sir.
built? Complete.
Yes. It's completed.
Did they apply for a permit?
No permit has been applied for.
Okay.
What, do we know when this was first, when the stop work order was issued in December of 2022?
December 7th.
Was it completed then?
Yes,
Okay, so they haven't done it, they haven't continued to work with the stop work order, it was already done.
correct. There's nothing else to do.
Okay,
So it's built?
It's still there. There's no permit for the erection of the gazebo
Okay. In the backyard?
in the backyard, because they're going to need specs
yeah,
for it.
Right.
Community development is in order to be able to issue the permit.
gotcha. Okay, any other questions?
I assume it hasn't been inspected, there's no blueprints on it.
Excuse me?
I assume it hasn't been inspected, there's no blueprints or anything like that.
As far as I know, it has not been inspected.
Can't be inspected without a permit.
Do you know who built it? Is a contractor or the owner?
Homeowner, I believe.
A homeowner, it's a self-like,
But you said you got contacted by a builder.
I was contacted by a contractor to try to unravel the mess.
Oh,
that
okay,
was
so this is,
created.
the contractor that contacted you is not not the person or contractor that built the original gazebo?
Correct.
Okay, gotcha,
okay, that's what got me confused.
okay.
So it looks like it's a build-your-own kind of thing? Like
Ma'am, I don't
something
know.
you've got it,
I haven't been into the backyard to
Okay.
look at it.
okay,
Okay,
I just received that photo.
doesn't matter.
That's what I
okay.
know.
Doesn't matter. Any other questions for the code officer? Is the respondent here? Do you want to come up? Name and address for the record, please. You do or you do not?
No speak English, nothing.
Do we have somebody that speaks Spanish?
Jose.
Jose,
Jose?
can you translate?
Hey, Jose.
Okay, so before, the first question we're gonna have, is it okay if he translates for you? Ask him that.
Dime, Jose, ¿qué tengo que decir? Porque no sé nada.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Do a interpreter swear.
Oh, okay. You need to No, you need to turn around. Jose, there you go. You're gonna do it. You're gonna swear him in? Okay. Okay. Gotcha.
Hereby swear or affirm that the translation you'll make from English to Spanish, Spanish to English will be true and accurate.
Yes.
Okay, now, please ask him if it's okay if you translate for him.
Está bien, si puedo dar la translación por ti.
Sí, sí, está bien, no hay problema.
He said yes.
Okay.
Ole.
I understood that. No, I understood that.
All right, so, tell him the floor is his. Tell him he may begin to speak.
Tú puedes hablar, presentar el caso tuyo.
¿A quién se lo presento? A ellos. ¿Qué tengo que presentar?
No, no habla alto porque tengo... no,
¿Qué tengo que presentarle esto? No sé.
bueno, ¿qué es lo que está pasando ahora con el caso?
Lo que está pasando es que nosotros vinimos aquí con el arquitecto.
He said they came over here with the architect.
Ajá. Y entonces estamos llamando aquí, me dicen que todavía no está el caso. Que tengo todos los papeles aquí, todos los documentos aquí.
He says he hasn't been able to get anybody regarding his paperwork.
Yo tengo todos los papeles aquí, tengo todo aquí.
He has all his paperwork here with the survey and
Service and
the specs of the gazebo or the building,
He
supposedly.
hasn't found anybody to give it to? Is that what he's saying? Nobody will take it from him?
Nadie, ¿cómo tú trataste?
esto yo vine aquí a la ciudad y traje
Ajá.
todos los papeles ya, traje todo esto, traje el service y traje esto en grande, los planos y todo, lo dejé aquí. Y al otro día volvió el arquitecto porque faltaba la memoria y trajo la memoria, pero
Yeah, he said he came over here with all the paperwork. Over here, y que veniste con todos los papeles.
con todos los papeles.
¿Y qué pasó?
Ya me dijeron que ya era eso.
He said that they told him just to leave it there.
Y entonces el arquitecto está llamando
The architect
y
was
le dicen
calling.
que todavía no está ready el permiso, no sé.
And he said, the architect said the permit was not ready.
Que no, que todavía no está ready.
Is this a language barrier? Is he not, they told him to leave it there and
Cuando tú entendiste lo que te dijeron que lo dejara aquí o es que no entendiste.
Yo con la persona que vine habla inglés.
His wife that came speaks English.
okay, all right.
Entonces yo dejé los papeles y ya y me fui. Me dijeron que iban a...
He said you left the papers.
Ya dejé los papeles y me fui. Y al otro día vino el arquitecto
The next day the architect
para traer
came
una memoria que le pidieron aquí en la ciudad. La memoria con todos los planos, que fue lo que nos faltó.
with all the additional paperwork.
Y él ya ha llamado y le han dicho que no, que todavía no está...
And he said the architects called and said that the permit's not ready.
Okay. Ask him to sit down.
Siéntate.
Ok.
I'm gonna have
Okay.
the building official come up.
Cuando acabamos aquí, el oficial está ahí de los edificios, va a tener
Que chequearle eso ahí.
que chequearle con eso.
Ok, thank you.
Yeah, don't go too far. Go ahead.
You're going to need to translate for him?
Yes.
Okay, so talk slow so that Jose can.
He can keep up. Okay, so the question is, are you aware that he dropped off any kind of
There's
paperwork?
an application we have received.
Okay, with the backup that he talked about?
It was specifications, the specifications that it provided it's an Amazon-built kit.
Ah.
The kit is not approved for the state of Florida.
Oh, so he can't have it anyway.
So he has to get something to show us that it's a state-approved gazebo to be installed. There's also a concrete slab that was installed with no permit.
Okay, so let me try to understand. What, the problem we have right now is what he's given you indicates that it can't be built in Florida.
Correct.
Okay, and what's the remedy for that? To have somebody go inspect it,
Well,
an
you
independent,
get an engineer, an architect. to
certify that it's okay?
It's okay to be built in the state of Florida.
Has anybody told him that?
I had left communication, because I had the plans for this and said it's disapproved it and said, here's what we need.
Okay,
Have had no contact with the owners.
okay. All right, so why don't you have a seat? Let's get him back up here. And Jose,
Who's he? Did he identify himself?
yeah, he did. Yeah. So tell the respondent that they have the paperwork. However, what he gave them indicates that gazebo cannot be built in Florida.
Ellos tienen los papeles, pero los papeles que tú le dices indica que el gazebo ese no se puede hacer.
So what he needs to do
Lo que necesita hacer
is to get an independent engineer
coger un ingeniero depende
to inspect the gazebo and the concrete slab
para que mira el gazebo y el concreto que echaste,
and certify that the slab is good
certificar que el concreto está bien,
and that the gazebo is safe to be built in Florida.
que la casita, el gazebo está sano para estar atrás.
Until he does that, he will never get a permit.
Sí, antes tú haces eso, no te van a dar el permiso. So,
Ok.
necesito un ingeniero para el concreto y el gazebo, lo que se hizo atrás, certificarlo que está bien hecho y de todo, es lo que necesito.
Ok, déjame hacerte una pregunta,
Option to
José.
take it down.
El gazebo se lo venden en Amazon.
Let him know that the other option
La otra opción que tiene
is to demolish the gazebo.
desarmarlo.
Yo quiero hacer una pregunta. El gazebo ese es de Amazon. Lo venden en Amazon, que es amable eso, normal.
So the gazebo's from Amazon.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Ese es el problema. La ciudad necesita certificación de un ingeniero diciendo que eso está bien.
Ok.
Okay, so
I told him basically the city needs paperwork showing from an engineer that
it's safe for Florida, yeah.
Signed
yeah,
and, signed
yeah,
and sealed, signed and sealed plans.
yeah. Or some sort of, he doesn't need new plans, he needs somebody to certify that, just a certification from an engineer saying it's safe, yeah.
no tiene que ser plano nuevo, necesita alguien
Yeah.
Maybe a
que
letter.
pueda
Yeah.
certificar
Que está bien hecho.
el concreto y el gazebo que está bien. No tiene que ser plano. Aquí con una carta que dice
Que me dice que está bien
está
hecho.
certificado por el ingeniero que eso está bien hecho bien.
Okay, so now, let him know, unless he has something else to say,
¿Tiene otra cosa?
we're now going to determine whether or not there's a violation and vote on it.
¿Tiene más algo que quiere decir?
No.
Ok, ahora más ellos van a dar lo que van a hacer.
Ok.
Thank you. Okay, any other questions for the respondent? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion. Thank you. Ernie, go ahead.
When you read the motion, because we're having it translated, please stop after each sentence so that Jose can do the translation.
Okay. In case number 23-3292,
En caso 23, 32, 92,
I move that the city has proven by the greater weight of evidence
la ciudad ha presentado el caso con todo lo que necesita.
the following violations of the City Temple Terrace City Code exist on the property located at 8608 Grandview Drive,
De lo contrario, que la violación pasó en el 8608 Grandview Drive,
with the code violation Section 8-28, subsection A, subsection 1 permits application required,
con la sección 828A1, permiso necesita.
This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from the Code Enforcement Officer, Jose Salava,
Esto está de testigo que presenté yo aquí hoy.
along any other evidence, including photos, affidavits, and all notice of violation, which is received and enters as part of the record of this hearing.
Cualquier retrato que recibieron y cualquier papel de esto que está entrado en el caso de la corte.
I further move that the said violation be corrected on or before October 11th, 2023,
Dicen que lo tiene que arreglar ante octubre 13, 2023.
Ok.
if the respondent does not comply with the order on or before the day, they are ordered to pay a fine for each and every day the violation to continue past the date set for compliance.
Si no lo puede acabar por el día ese o antes,
Upon,
después del día 13 va a empezar con una multa.
Ok.
upon considering the following factors, the gravity of the violation,
mirando el caso y lo grave lo que es,
any actions taken by the violator to correct the violation,
cualquier cosa que tú haces para arreglar el problema
and any previous violations committed by the violator,
y cualquier otra violación que hiciste,
I move that the fine be $25 per day.
va a ser 25 pesos por día.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion is second. Ask him if he understands what the motion that was just made.
¿Tú entendiste lo que te dijeron?
Sí, como ustedes lo
Te
pusieron así.
encontraron culpable,
Ajá.
te dan hasta el 13 October, right?
11
Te
October.
dan hasta el 11 de octubre para arreglarlo, para coger los papeles, para poder sacarle el permiso. Si tú no sacas los permisos en ese día o antes, empezando el día 12, empieza 25 pesos al día.
Ok.
He understands the motion.
¿Tú entendiste lo que
Sí.
dije?
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No nays? Motion carries. So let him know that the motion passed.
Pasó lo que
He has until October 11th to get a permit.
tiene hasta octubre 11 a coger el permiso.
If he has troubles getting a permit, he needs to come back here on October 11th and let us know.
Si tiene problema a coger los permisos que necesita, tiene que venir para
Antes.
atrás
Antes.
a las 6, octubre 11, para pedir más tiempo.
Más tiempo. Ok.
Okay? Gracias.
Thank you.
Traiga a la esposa tuya.
No, mi esposa no habla inglés. Mi esposa no habla inglés. El niño es que habla inglés.
We're not going out for beer, so
Thank you.
that's the extent of my Spanish. All right, next case will be 23-2749. Thank you, Jose.
Case 232749, City versus Padilla Rocio del Pilar Lopez for the property located at 6102 Liberty Avenue. The case is before the board based on alleged violation of Section 828A1, permits application required. The case will be prosecuted this evening by Code Compliance Officer Lori Smith. The city has evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were properly served.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, board members, Lori Smith, Code Compliance. This case originated from an online complaint sent to the director. On Saturday, May the 27th, 2023, Officer Baroni visited the location for construction noise starting at 7 a.m. Director Baroni's inspection noted no permit for what looked like at that time a rear roof extension. He did follow up with an email, which he sent to Community Development the same day, requesting a building inspector visit the site as soon as possible. My inspection on July the 6th, 2023, revealed no change to the permit status for a rear concrete patio slab. Therefore, a notice of violation was prepared with a compliance date the 17th of July, 2023. Affidavit of service was obtained by hand delivery to Patricia Allen. Mr. Chairman, Patricia Allen stated that same day when I gained service on her, sir, that she was the friend of the families. They did not speak English, so she was trying to help out with communication. The homeowners wanted to put the recently purchased home in a trust and that they would pursue obtaining the permit. On July the 17th, 2023, Patricia contacted me by email stating the family was currently working with Drummond Webble Young Law Firm pertaining to the trust and would actively pursue obtaining the permit shortly after. At this time, I would like to submit photographic evidence of the violation taken by Director Baroni on May the 27th, 2023, and a copy of the stop work order in Central Square on the 12th of December, 2023.
You happen to have a copy of the email?
Excuse me, sir?
The email you said you got?
No, sir.
Roof extension, wow.
What's it?
I-
Covered patio.
Oh, yes, the online complaint, not the respondent's, the email, the lady sent.
Well, both is what I'd like to see, but if
I have
you
the,
got one, that's fine. Yeah, if you got a copy of the online complaint, that's fine.
Yes, sir, I have
Okay,
that.
Let's take a look at that, too. Thank you, Lloyd. And Tom.
Thank you. No, that's okay, sir. Thank you for the clarification. Exhibit number 1 shows the concrete slab in the rear yard. Exhibit number 2 shows the stop work order in Central Square. As of today's date, the site is not in compliance, and I am seeking a ruling. Upon checking the permit status this morning and as well as this afternoon, it is in a plan check status.
Okay,
Fine. I have a question.
go ahead.
So They already poured a slab.
Yes, sir.
Did they do anything else or just a slab?
It
You
doesn't
saw the
appear
wood,
to
they
be.
got wood columns up.
Those are like,
I don't know what they're for, but they got wood columns up.
but they already submitted plans.
Yes, sir, they have. The paperwork is in for review in community development right now. Hopefully, I'm hoping very, very soon, the permit will be obtained.
Okay, good. Is there any other questions for Lori? Lori, is the respondent here?
Not that I know of, sir.
Okay. Seeing there's no other questions, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll do that.
Thank you.
In case number 23-27-49, I move.
Let's start over. There's no dash yet to the 27.
Oh, 23-27-49, correct?
Yep.
I move that the city has proven by the greater weight of evidence the following violations of the city Temple Terrace City Code exist on the property located at 6102 Liberty Avenue, with a code violation, section 8-28, subsection A, subsection 1, permit application required. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from the Code Enforcement Officer, Lori Smith, along with any other evidence, including photos, affidavit, and the notice of violation of which is received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move that the said violation be corrected on or before October 11th, 2023. If the respondent does not comply with this order on or before the day, they are ordered to pay a fine for each and every day the violation continue past the date of set for compliance. Upon considering the following factors, the gravity of the violation, any actions taken by the violator to correct the violation, any previous violations committed by the violator, I move that the fine be $25 per day.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No nays. Motion carries. Next case, please, which will be case number 235382. Should be the first case on your list.
22,
20, it says, on my thing, it says 23.
ours it says 22.
It's 22? Okay. 22-5382.
Number 225382, City versus Marabella Terrace Townhomes HOA for the property located at 11568 Morrisbridge Road. The case is before the board based on an alleged violation of Section 12768A1, trees unlawful removal, and Section 12-410, development permits. The case will be prosecuted this evening by Code Compliance Officer Lori Smith. The city has evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were properly served.
Thank you.
Real quick, before we start, want to let you know that the city's going to be dismissing 12-410.
Okay.
That's development permit. It is not applicable in this situation. There's no
Okay.
construction going on. The attorney, before the code enforcement officer speaks, the attorney for the respondent would like to address the board.
Okay.
Which case again?
Come on up and state your name and address for the record. First case on your list, 22-5382, City versus Marabella Terrace Townhomes.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Arturo Eustavinis. I'm an attorney. I represent Marbella Terrace HOA. The property address is 11568 Morris Bridge Road. I just asked to have a brief moment to speak before evidence is presented to ask for a continuance. Ideally, I'd like a 60-day continuance if I could. If I can't, I'd really appreciate a 30-day continuance, and the reason for that is I believe if granted a 60-day continuance, I can have well, not I, but my client can have passed a board resolution to approve a plan that's been submitted by Dark Moss. That's the arborist that's been more recently retained. We had some issues with the previous arborist that was retained. And I'd really just like to be able to present, once the plan's been approved and is in the process of being implemented, and also discussed with Mr. Ferris and Mr. Mueller as well. And then also, I'd really appreciate the opportunity to have Mr. Pederica, who's the arborist that we've retained here, so that he can assist in answering questions the board may have. and also in the presentation of evidence. And he is unavailable tonight. He's actually in a different code enforcement proceeding in South Tampa. And for the record, that respondent cut down many more trees than we did. So it was kind of a bigger.
Not a contest. Does the city have any objection to a continuance?
This case has been hanging out there for a long time, as you can tell by
Yep.
the case number. The city would prefer to move forward on this case. It needs to move forward. It's an if you'll notice, it's an irreparable, irreversible violation, being the fact that it's trees that are being cut. I do know that they are, the big concern here is the mitigation aspect of the case, which, you know, I've already advised that if this case goes forward and if there is a finding that, you know, they have the time then, because it's irreparable, irreversible, there will be no deadline. 'Cause
Right.
There's nobody correct.
Right.
There would be time to mitigate after that. The decision, of course, is up to you, but
Okay.
because of the age of this case, we would be reluctant to want to further continue. It's all up to you.
Okay.
If I may, if I could just address some of what Mr. Mueller just said.
Sure.
First, I just, you know, not an excuse, but I'd just like to kind of draw attention to the fact that we're not dealing with an individual property owner. This is a homeowners association. There's 92 units. You know, you guys are having to make quorum when you have your board meetings. We've got issues making quorum. There's 92 families in there. It's, you know, there's quite a few, but it's a working class community. It's hard for people to make it. I do have a timeline. I'll hold off on giving you that, but just, I'd like to draw attention to the fact that it's not an individual that can go out and make a decision and immediately put a plan into action. There's a lot of red tape here. And then the other piece would be that I would really appreciate the opportunity to have Mr. Pederica here, because I do think that some of the testimony I would ask him to elicit deals with the number of violations, and, you know, would directly deal with whether the number of violations that the board's been charged with, which I believe is 27, we would have an issue with that number, and I would rely on Mr. Pederica to assist
Well,
in any testimony and evidence.
Ernie, if I may, can you stand up again? We don't get a lot of these cases, so if they are found in violation of this irreputable, whatever, yes.
I said the same thing.
The mitigation plan, is that negotiable, or is that cast in stone?
Well, I do know that Mr. Ferris, who can probably speak to this, he wants to, you know, look at it. He's going to review it and see what his, you know, if he agrees with the mitigation. 'Cause
But
it's
I
a
guess
better
my-
location,
yeah.
how many can be planted.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, so,
So the reason I mention that is because, you know, okay, you got 27 cases or 27 trees, whatever it is, we'll find out during the history here, from the code enforcement officer. But if you're found guilty, if you found that there is a violation, it's not like you will have to do something. That's gonna be between you and the arborist.
Sure, and I
So-
understand that.
So, but, let me finish. And I think that falls right in line with the fact that you've got, you know, boards and red tapes and stuff that will give you some time to get, when's the next board meeting?
Well, let me just introduce them now. So I've got with me Richard Schrutt.
Yeah, if they're gonna answer, if whoever's gonna answer the question needs to come up and state their name and address.
Richard, I think you can address it.
My name's Richard Schrod. I work for Home River Group, the management company that I just came on board with them. I live at 7616 Yale Harbor Drive. I just took the position of management for the community.
Okay, do you know when the next board meeting is?
At this point, they have not scheduled it because we're trying to get that remediation plan finalized so I can put it in front of them.
Okay, all right. What's your pleasure? Any other questions for the attorney?
Oh, did we see this case before? This is the first?
No, first time.
First time. I don't know. Sounds like
Sounds like other-
we don't.
So the question, the first question we have to rule on is whether or not to give them a 30-day or 60-day or any extension, or to hear the case tonight. So, so your question should
My
be,
question is, why are we, why is it an old case and we're just looking at it now? That's my
because
question.
it's taking that long to get in front of us.
Oh, okay.
And they did come to the city and want to talk about the mitigation, because again, the mitigation issue is, if there's a finding of 27 trees, they've got to either replace those with X number of trees or, money into the tree trust fund. But, you can't plant all of those trees on the property. So that was, they had to do a survey. They were going to work with Mr. Ferris with that, and finally that survey is coming forward.
I would like to hear
I
from.
will say, this is the first I heard, and if they're disputing the number of trees, that affects the mitigation. So if you were to find that there's less trees, that would affect the mitigation. So
Probably hear
for
it.
that reason, there may be a basis for, where we would not object to the, as I said, we'd like to get this case moving, it's been old, but if there is a dispute, he's gonna need the arborist to talk about that then. So I guess, in light of that.
Yeah, but, I mean, my point is, even if tonight we found that they were guilty of the 27 trees, the mitigation plan is not set in stone. The mitigation plan is something that's worked out between the city and the arborist.
Understood, but the concern is we've said there's 27 trees. If their arborist has evidence that
There's
it's
not.
not 27 trees, that adjusts the mitigation plan, right, for the number of trees that need to be replaced.
Yeah, but my point is, whether it's 27 trees or 15 trees, it's still gonna be a discussion between the arborist and the client as to what the ultimate mitigation plan is anyway.
But I think the number of.
Hang on. You know what I'm saying?
Sort of, yeah, I understand that, that's fluid, but I think the finding of trees and their ability to be able to present evidence as to how many.
Okay, well, yeah, but it's not gonna affect the mitigation plan, because they can still negotiate the mitigation plan with our arborist. It will affect our ruling, whether or not, it could affect our ruling, and if the arborist isn't here to testify on that, then I understand that. Okay?
One more question.
Go ahead.
I wanted to hear why you needed 60 days
So-
and 30 days.
And that's a good question. So in 60 days, I believe that our arborist will have had the opportunity and our board will have had the opportunity to, we've got the replanting plan. We've got to solicit bids on it. We have to get board approval on that. And then at that point, we'd present it to Mr. Ferris. Right? I guess now we get the ball rolling, presenting it to Mr. Ferris. But within 60 days, I believe we can have an approved plan and be breaking ground on that plan.
So back to my point, if you have a plan and you're gonna get it approved by them, how do you know the arborist is gonna approve it?
Well, I have to speak with Mr. Ferris.
Yeah, I know, but you just said you're gonna get them to approve it, then you're gonna give it to the
Right,
arborist to approve it.
so
If he doesn't
two-
approve it, you're back to square one.
Well, it's two different things, right? So one is the replanting plan, and two is the bid to get to work. I think the replanting plan is ready to present to Mr. Ferris
Okay.
and be discussed and potentially approved. And Mr. Pederica is who I'd be relying on.
And Ernie, again, to my point, his replanting plan is a replanting plan that is based on, I guess, worst-case scenario, because he's got a plan. Okay? Hang on, let me hear from Ernie first. Do you see what I'm saying? If he's got a replanting plan, whether we find 1 tree or 8 trees or 27 trees, he's got a plan already, he says.
But we have, each tree is a separate violation on this. So, and remember, it's irreparable, irreversible. So with no deadline, it's a one-time fine,
Okay?
Oh,
right? Based on how many trees have been cut.
Okay.
So if they.
Okay,
they're
so the plan,
disputing the
so
27,
if I understand, unless the plan is 27 more trees, the amount of money they had to put into the tree bank may be affected by the number of
we're talking
violations.
about the fine.
The fine, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
The finding
gotcha.
of trees
Okay.
with trust fund. So that's the only thing is, I don't want to deny them the opportunity, or the city doesn't want to deny
Okay.
them the opportunity to dispute the 27 trees.
Okay, so do you think by October 11th, you can have your arborist available to be here?
I can certainly have them available by October 11th.
Okay.
question
ahead.
to Ernie. How do we do this motion? It's
Hang on, we're not there yet.
No,
We're
no,
not there- Hang on, we're not there yet. Just wait a minute, because I have a couple more questions. One, is the arborist on board with this? Are you okay with a 30-day extension? Okay. Tom?
I'm okay with 30 days.
Okay. So, now you can ask your question.
I'm asking us
Yeah.
to, I don't know if you want to do the discussion, that's.
The discussion
Yeah.
comes after you make the motion.
I see the point of the attorney that he needs this time.
That's the discussion
Yeah,
part.
so,
Let's
yeah,
get to
okay.
that, we'll get there.
So I make a motion that we give them a 30-day extension
Until date, what date?
until October 11th, 2023.
At which time that he will have his arborist here.
I'll have my arborist.
Okay.
Can't
Do we
promise.
have a motion? Do we have a second?
Apparently not.
We do not have a second, so the motion fails for lack of a second. So you're not, so the motion for a 30-day
I don't want longer.
extension has failed because it didn't get a second. Okay,
We have another motion.
so if somebody wants to make it, either we can make another motion, or we can hear the case. Go ahead.
It's been over a year, or it's been nearly a year. You need just one more month after a year.
Well,
of the
so
state
over the course of that, can I just show you guys the timeline that I've?
Well, I'm.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to give you an understanding of what's been going on, because we've been through
He asked a
two
question.
different board presidents, we've been through two property managers, we've been through two contractors, 27 trees. I mean, the numbers are big. So, yeah, if you don't mind, if I may, it's just a timeline that I drafted.
I'm good. I get it.
And if I could continue may I continue?
Sure,
to
go ahead.
answer the question?
Yeah.
So one of the major issues here is that at the outset, we contacted the contractor, the licensed and insured contractor that did the original work without a permit, and, essentially brought to their attention that they did work without a permit. And so at the outset, they were very eager to make things right, so to speak. So they were going to assist us. They had an arborist on staff. Why they didn't use him for this job, I don't know. We certainly thought we paid for him, but, it became a question of there would be a little bit of progress and we'd lose contact with them. And we'd follow up, and then we'd meet out at the property, I'm sure that they really did have delays. I'm not here to disparage anybody, but to some extent, it's the mixture of the red tape with a homeowners association mixed with trouble with the remediation efforts as far as a contractor and an arborist that were going to help us originally. Then we had to switch over. Mr. Pederica, to his credit, was able to put together a remediation plan and a report in literally no time compared to the original contractor. So, we're also frustrated. The board's frustrated. I certainly appreciate Mr. Ferris's patience, Mr. Mueller's patience with us. I mean, we really want to
Let
make.
me ask you another question.
Sure.
Can either of the two gentlemen sitting here today, can they address the number of trees?
So there's a couple issues with the numbers of trees, one of which I need an arborist for, another of which quite frankly, I am not prepared to talk about today, but there's two issues. One is that the board originally approved 21 trees to be removed at the outset of this job. So there's never a contemplation of 27 trees. And to my knowledge, there were only 21 trees removed in this particular job. How the other trees were removed predates my existence in this case and my knowledge of the HOA, and quite frankly, anybody that we have access to's knowledge.
All right, I'm going to stop you again. So I'd like you to rethink this, because he's saying he needs a witness who cannot be here tonight to address the number of trees. And really, that's kind of what, they've got a plan, but the fine will vary based on the number of trees. And I would not like to give him a reason to go to a judge and say he wasn't given his due process because he didn't have his star witness with him.
I did not second it because I wanted to give him 60 days, because I know how it is.
Okay, all right.
That's why I wanted to.
Well, so at this point, we have three options. We can hear another motion for 30 days, you can make a motion for 60 days, or we can make no motion and we will hear the case. The choice is yours.
Can I complete
if
my
it's okay
answer
with
to your last
the-
question? Because remember, there's two reasons I need.
I'm sorry, if I cut you off, I
No, no,
apologize. Yeah.
It's okay. So the second reason is that I believe that with the arborist here, I'll be able to present testimony that at least some of the trees that were removed were at that threshold of dead or dying, and so they wouldn't have needed a permit to be removed in the first place.
Okay, not sure how he can do that after the fact, but okay, we'll see. Maybe. All right.
The one with the,
So again, we have three choices. We can rehear another motion for 30 days. Somebody can make a new motion for 60 days, or nobody will make a motion, and we'll hear the case.
Do you want to make a motion for 60 days?
Yes,
Go for it.
I make a motion to postpone this for 60 days.
Okay, I need a date certain. Need a date certain.
Oh,
Need a
the date,
certain.
okay. I can't count that far.
In
60
November-
days will make us on November 3rd, no, November 8th.
November 8th. So we have a motion on the floor, 60 days to November 8th. Do we have a second?
2023.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No nays? You have 60 days.
Thank you very much. I
Okay.
appreciate it.
Next case. So we're done with all the, so we're back to just a normal, okay, so the next case will be 23, I think, 23-1753. Is that correct? Okay.
Case 23-1753, City versus Progress Residential Borrower 21 LLC for the property located at 9039 Water Chestnut Drive. The case is before the board based on alleged violation of Section 828A1, permits application required. The case will be prosecuted this evening by Code Compliance Officer Lori Smith. The city has evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were properly served.
Good evening again, Mr. Chairman, board members. Lori Smith, Code Compliance. This case originated proactively on April the 5th, 2023. My inspection revealed the was a vinyl fence installed on the east and west side of the structure without a permit. At that time, I left a door hanger with the reinspection date of the 8th of May, 2023. My reinspection on May 18th, 2023 revealed no change. Therefore, a notice of violation was prepared with a compliance date of the 5th of July, 2023. No one was at home, so I posted the notice letter at the front door, and I requested copies be sent certified in first-class mail to the owner of record. I also requested a copy be posted at City Hall for the 10-day requirement. Mr. Chairman, I have not heard from the tenant nor the property owner. At this time, I would like to submit photographic evidence of the violation taken by me on June 16th, 2023, and a copy of the stop work order in Central Square showing the violation.
We'll accept those. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Exhibit number 1 shows a notice letter posted at the front door. Exhibit number 2 shows the vinyl fence on the east side of the property. Exhibit 3 shows the vinyl fence on the west side of the property. Exhibit 4 shows the stop work order for the fence installation in Central Square. As of today's date, the site is not in compliance, and I am seeking a ruling.
Very good. Thank you. Any questions for the code officer?
Just remind me with the code, how many feet can
Two
they?
panels.
2 panels. And they built how many panels?
Oh, sir, that's on the east and west side, and it could possibly be all the way in the back. So it's definitely more than 3 sections. Mr. Chairman?
3 sections.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay.
Anything past 3 sections would require the permit to be pulled.
But the job is completed,
Yes, sir, it is.
Apparently,
like always.
we don't know because they haven't applied for a permit.
The fence is up,
Looks
but
like-
no
looks like
permit
it's
yet,
up.
sir.
Any other questions? Thank you, Lori.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I guess the respondent is not here.
No, sir, they're not.
Okay. Seeing none, entertain a motion.
I'll do that.
Thank you.
Rod's on fire.
You jump on. We're gonna keep going. We're gonna go home today. In case number, so we're still in violation on this one?
Yeah, no, there's no permit.
No permit. Okay. In case number 23-1753, I move that the city has proven by the great weight of evidence the following violation of the City Temple Terrace City Code exists on the property located at 9039 Water Chestnut Drive, with the applicable code violation, Section 8-28, subsection A, subsection 1, permit application required. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from the Code Enforcement Officer, Lori Smith, along with any other evidence, including photos, affidavit, and the notice of violation of which is received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move that the said violation be corrected on or before October 11th, 2023. If the respondent does not comply with the order on or before the day they are ordered to pay a fine for each and every day the violation continue past the date of this set for compliance. Upon considering the following factors: the gravity of the violation, any actions taken by the violator to correct the violation, any previous violations committed by the violator, I move that the fine be $25 per day.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No nays. Motion carries. Next case.
Case 23-2430, City vs. Gordon Patel and Vishnukumar Patel for the property located at 12112 North 56th Street. The case is before the board based on an alleged violation of Section 8-1661B, minimum standards, commercial exterior walls, and Section 8-10218A, sanitation shared area. The case will be prosecuted this evening by Code Compliance Officer Lori Smith. City has evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were properly served.
Thank you.
Good evening again, Mr. Chairman, board members. Lori Smith, Code Compliance. This case originated proactively on May the 11th, 2023. My inspection revealed overgrown grass, vines on the rear walls, and all exterior surfaces on the structure were either stained, faded, or they were peeling paint. I left a door hanger with the compliance date of the 13th of May, 2023 for the overgrown grass, and May 19th, 2023 for the rear vines and the building stains. My inspection on the 23rd of May 2023 revealed the grass had been cut, but the vines and the wall staining on the building remained. Therefore, a notice of violation was prepared with a compliance date of June the 7th, 2023. Affidavit of service was obtained by hand delivery to the store clerk, Sirjum Pani. At this time, I would like to submit photographic evidence of the violations taken by me on the 23rd of May 2023.
Accept those. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Exhibit number 1 shows the peeling paint that's on the south side of the structure. Exhibit number 2 shows the front wall of the structure. It's very faded and stained on the front of the building. Exhibit number 3 shows the north side of the structure is being stained and the paint's very faded. Exhibit number 4 shows the unmanicured vines growing on the rear of the building. As of today's date, the vines have been removed from the west side exterior wall, and I would like to submit an affidavit of compliance for that violation. But the building exterior walls remain out of compliance, and I am seeking a ruling.
Okay, so 8-10218A is in compliance?
Yes, sir, it is.
Any other questions for the code officer? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion. Okay, thank you. Okay.
In case number 23-2430, I move that the city has proven by the greater weight of evidence the following violations of the violations of the City of Temple Terrace City Code exist on the property located at address 12112 North 56th Street. The codes in violation are Section 8-166, subsection 1, subsection B. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from the
I'm
code.
gonna stop you there because
Okay.
we have, I think you're reading the,
I'm reading the complied and existing violation.
yeah, but you only mentioned one section when you talked about the violations.
Well, the other one's in,
Yeah, but you mentioned them both. They were,
I'm sorry. Okay, shall we start over? Just
Start over, yeah, start over.
Okay. In case number 232430, I move that the city has proven by the greater weight of the evidence the following violations of the City of Temple Terrace Code existed on the property located at 12112 North 56th Street. The violations are section 8-166, subsection 1, subsection B, and section 8-102, subsection 18, subsection A. The motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from the code enforcement officer, Lori Smith, and other witnesses, along with any other evidence, including photos, affidavits, and the notice of violation, all which is received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move that there be no fine imposed for the violation of code section 8-102, subsection 18, subsection A, because the violations were brought into compliance prior to the date of this hearing. Further move that the remaining violations be corrected on or before October 11th. If the respondent does not comply with this order on or before that day, they are ordered to pay a fine each and every day the violation continues past the date set for compliance. On considering the following factors: the gravity of the violation, any actions taken by the violator to correct the violation, and any previous violations committed by the violator. I move the fine be $25 per day.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion is second, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No nays, motion carries. Next case, please.
232624, City vs. White Glove Holdings 2 LLC for the property located at 1401 North River Hills Drive. The case is before the board based on alleged violation of section 8-102 18A, sanitation shared area. The case will be prosecuted this evening by Code Compliance Officer Doug Allen. The city has evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were properly served.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and board members. Doug Allen, Code Compliance Officer. This case was originated by me on May 22nd, 2023 for a downed tree limb on the side yard driveway. I left a door hanger with a reinspection date of May 26, 2023. My reinspection on June 28th showed no change, so I prepared a notice of violation on that date with a reinspection date of July 13th. I posted the notice at the site as well as at City Hall for the 10-day requirement, and copies were mailed, both certified and regular mail, to the address of the owner of record. My reinspection on August 15th showed no change, so I prepared a notice of hearing on that date, and the case was scheduled for the September 2023 Municipal Code Board meeting. This time I'd like to submit photographic evidence taken by myself on June 29th and July 23rd, 2023. Also, the site is in compliance, and I'd like to submit an affidavit of compliance, and I'm seeking a finding.
Very good, thank you. We'll accept those. Any questions for the code officer? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll do this easy one.
Thank you.
Gotta give Dina a chance, man. Well, I was just kidding.
No, that's all right.
Let's hear the motion, please.
I'll get there.
In case number 23-6224,
26.
in case number 23-2624, I move that the city has proven by the greater weight of evidence the following violation of the City of Temple Terrace City Code existed on the property located at 1401 North River Hills Drive, with the applicable code violation section 8-108, subsection 18, subsection A.
Hang on, back up, 8-102.
Section 8-102, subsection 18, subsection A. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from the code enforcement officer, Doug Allen, along with any other evidence, including photos, affidavit, and the notice of violation of which received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move there will be no fine imposed because the violation were brought into compliance prior to the date of this hearing.
We have a motion, do we have a second? Motion is second, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No nays, motion carries. Next case, please.
232658, City vs. Lawrence, Chicago, for the property located at 5217 Parade Street. The case is before the board based on alleged violation of section 12-921, parking residential parking. The case will be prosecuted this evening by Code Compliance Officer Doug Allen. The city has evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were properly served.
Thank you.
Good evening again, Mr. Chairman and board members. Doug Allen, Code Compliance Officer. This case was originated by me on May 23rd, 2023 for a vehicle parked in the side yard of the residence on the grass behind a wooden fence. I left a door hanger with a reinspection date of June 1st, 2023. My reinspection on July 12th showed no change, so I generated a notice of violation on that date with a reinspection date of July 19th, 2023. Posted the notice at the front door. Copy was posted at City Hall for the 10-day requirement, and copies were mailed, both regular and certified mail, to the owner of record. My reinspection on August 15th showed no change, so I prepared a notice of hearing and scheduled the case for the September Municipal Code Board meeting. The property owner did mail a letter to the city clerk's office, which I would like to enter into the record. And I have had no contact from the resident. Director Baroni left a voice message for Mr. Santiago, but there's been no response. I'd also like to submit photographic evidence taken by me on July 12th and August 15th. The site is not in compliance, and we're seeking a ruling.
We'll accept all that, thank you.
I printed 4 copies so everybody can have the variant.
Awesome.
A very long letter and a bit difficult to read. This case is very similar to the case I had last month, and the issue isn't that it's parked behind a backyard or behind a fence, it's that it is parked on the grass.
Okay.
And you can just barely see the top of the vehicle over the fence.
What's the Reader's Digest version of the letter?
It kind of goes off in a variety of different areas. I'm not really sure how to describe that letter.
Okay, I guess we'll have to read it.
Well, how, do we have time?
Do you know anything about the vehicle, like registration or anything like that?
He doesn't have enough money to pay for
Oh,
car.
it's, they're different copies?
Yes, it's
Yeah, everybody's the
individual,
same copy.
individual copies, everybody can read it at once.
Everybody gets,
Yeah, it
Oh, this
says,
is not an email.
No,
he wrote this letter.
yeah.
Yes.
He doesn't have car, he can't make car insurance, he can't pay for car insurance.
Yeah, the issue is just that the vehicle needs to be moved from
Right.
off the grass on the side yard and parked in the driveway or adjacent to the driveway on a.
he needs to move it onto a non-permeable surface.
But does he not need to have a, what's the word, doesn't it have to be legally registered to be on the driveway?
Well, it could be, but there's also options on that as well. I have no idea if the vehicle's registered or not registered.
Oh, it says that he doesn't have money for car insurance, so I'm assuming it's not insured.
If it's not insured,
Then
all
he
he
can't
has to
get-
do, move it on the driveway and cover it, right? He
That
can
would-
cover
Oh, he can
it.
cover it, oh, okay.
Driveway and cover it, that would be one option.
Was he advised of that, or,
He hadn't contacted anybody.
oh, he just wrote the letter?
Wrote the letter. That's the only.
How did we receive that? Did he mail it?
No, I think it was dropped off because I didn't see a stamp on the envelope.
Okay,
Back to the office, it was just there for me.
okay.
Or somebody dropped it off, whether it was him.
Yeah, somebody, either him or somebody knows, right?
I'm having a little bit difficulty with the handwriting, but, you know.
You don't get the gist of it.
Is there room on the driveway?
It's a single car driveway, but they could put rock or shell or some other approved surface adjacent to the driveway and park it over there.
Oh, he could park on the street, right? I mean,
He could park it on the street.
As long as he moves it every 24
4 hours, yeah.
Yeah, you can only park on the street for 24 hours.
So literally, that's all he has to do. It
Yes,
would
sir.
have taken him
It's
longer
a
to
simple,
write this letter.
potentially a very simple fix.
Yeah,
Okay, all right.
you're just talking to lawyers. Okay,
Is this lawyer here?
any other questions for the code enforcement officer? That's your copy.
Oh, my copy.
Somebody should give this, a copy to the clerk.
Okay. Here, you can have to-
Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll do it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, where am I?
That's your copy.
Okay, thank you. In case number 23-2657, I move that the city has proven by a greater weight of the evidence the following violations of the City of Temple Terrace City Code exist on the property located at 5217 Parade Street. Applicable violation is Section 12-921. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from the Code Enforcement Officer, Doug Allen, along with any other evidence, including photos, affidavits, and the notice of violation, all of which is received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move that said violations be corrected on or before October 11th. If the respondent does not comply with this order on or before that day, they are ordered to pay a fine for each and every day the violation continues past the date set for compliance. Upon considering the following factors: the gravity of the violation, any actions taken by the violator to correct the violation, and any previous violations committed by the violator, I move that the fine be $25 per day.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
I second.
Motion and second, any further discussion? Go ahead.
What about $50 a day?
Sorry?
Would you consider making it a $50 a day fine?
Why would you want to do $50?
Well, the issues that were pointed out last month when we talked about parking on grass, about the ecological impacts and things like that, that's why it's a code. And we've had conversations in the past too about, these parking violations being so inexpensive that it's just, some people just consider them a bill and they just pay them rather than mitigate them.
Can I answer for
No.
that?
No, Rod.
No. Just,
Please, by all means.
I think $25 per day, within a month, it'll be way, and the person is saying he cannot pay for the insurance. That's why I seconded. I really, I think 50 is, it's good, but it's not gonna matter. The fix of this is very simple, and I hope he's hearing us or whatever. He can just move his car. If he doesn't have a tag or insurance, he just cover it, and that's it. It's very, very easy fix. So, let's just give him $25 per day.
So to that point, I would say that we had a workshop 4 months ago, where code enforcement asked us to have a little bit more assertiveness in enforcing these code violations, and the $25 a day for the. I was all on board with $25 a day to begin with, but I think I see their point in that, it carries a little more, because it is what it is.
And quite frankly, if he gets it done by October 11th, that's a moot point, so.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, the last one we did was $25 a day, and it was the same situation. So I see that it would be, I feel it would be,
Okay, so I get it. So we have a motion, did we get a second?
Yeah, right.
I did.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, there we go. Motion carries. Next case, please.
Okay, we're gonna skip down to 233577, City versus Singh Associates
Good point.
LLC for the property located at 8604 Shirley Drive. The case is before the board based on an alleged violation of section 12-861E6, fences appearance. The case will be prosecuted this evening by Code Compliance Officer Jose Silva. The city has evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were properly served.
Thank you.
Good evening again, Jose Silva, Code Compliance Officer. This case originated on July 14, 2023. My inspection at the time noted a vehicle parked on the yard, grass on the side yard, and a wood side rear yard privacy fence in disrepair. This time I completed a notice violation with a compliance date of July 24, 2023. Posted notice at the home as well as City Hall. Mail copies both certified and regular mail to the address of the registered owner, and sent the notice of violation by email to the agent. My inspection on July 24th noted no yard parking, but the fence was still in disrepair. It appears someone attempted to repair the fence by adding some additional posts for support. My inspection on August 14th, 2023 noted privacy fence still in disrepair. This time I'd like to submit 2 photographs of the violation, notice posted at the door, and the side yard fence in disrepair.
Accept that, thank you.
And I have had no contact with the owner. It's an LLC.
Okay. Any questions for the code officer? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
My turn?
Sure.
I'll take it.
Thank you.
In case number 233577, I move that the city has proven by a greater weight of the evidence the following violations of the City of Temple Terrace City Code exist on the property located at the address 8604 Shirley Drive. Violation in question is section 12, 8-861, subsection E, subsection 6. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from Code Enforcement Officer Jose Silva, along with any other evidence, including photos, affidavits, and the notice of violation, all of which is received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move that the said violation be corrected on or before the deadline date of October 11th, our next meeting. If the respondent does not comply with this order on or before that day, they are ordered to pay a fine for each and every day the violations continue past the date set for compliance. Upon considering the following factors, the gravity of the violation, any actions taken by the violators to correct the violation, and any previous violations committed by the violator. I move that the fine be $25 per day, just to mess with you guys. No, seriously, but I moved that be $25 a day.
Okay, we have a motion, do we have a second?
I second.
Motion and a second.
I'd like to add a little bit of context there. The reason $25 a day there is based on the gravity of the violation, and it's obvious that they are taking steps to try to mitigate the thing falling down, but
Do you want me to discuss that? I know we took a.
You
vote
can,
on-
this is the discussion period, go ahead.
Yeah, so I consider fencing in despair is more dangerous than having a car parked in the back of your house. In my book,
okay.
because that could be blown and becomes a missile or whatever by wind or hurricane or anything. And it'll cause damage to the building. To me, those violations where you have trash in your yard, you have poles that, whatever, trees that's limbs and, those are more dangerous to the public than having a car. I know it's also a bad violation because it's seepage of the car in the underground. But,
So you're speaking to the gravity of the violation?
Yes.
I understand that. I would still say that, unlike a lot of folks, they actually have taken actions to address the issue.
Okay.
Thank
Are they
you.
laughing at us?
Wait, no. Okay, so we got a motion and a second. If there's no further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No nays?
I
You're,
did not name my own.
okay, thank you. So the motion carries unanimously. And before we move on, Mr. Kennedy? Yeah, okay, just wondering why you decided to start standing instead of sitting.
Bad hip, when I sit too long.
Okay, all right. All right, hope that tonight has been everything you hoped for. All right, next case, please.
Next case is 23-3693, City versus Alan W. Edwards, Sharon D. McGinn, and David K. Edwards for the property located at 202 South Lockmore Avenue. The case is before the board based on alleged violation of Section 10-3B, sanitation, grass weeds. The case will be prosecuted this evening by Code Compliance Officer Jose Silva. The city has evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were properly served.
Good evening again, Jose Silva, Code Compliance Officer. This case originated July 20, 2023. My inspection at the time noted the yard grass of the residents to be overgrown. Again, at this time, I completed notice of violation with compliance date of July 25, 2023. Posted notice at the home as well as City Hall. Also mailed copies, both certified and regular mail, to the address of the registered owner. On July 26, 2023, I was contacted by Mr. Edward, who advised the grass will be cut by the end of the week. My inspection on July 31st, 2023 noted the front yard grass cut, but the rear yard to still be overgrown. Another inspection on August 3rd, 2023 noted the rear yard still overgrown. And the third inspection on August 24th, 2023 noted the front yard overgrown again. This time I'd like to submit photographic evidence of the violations along with the notice posted at the door. I have 4 photos, and this time the property is in compliance. I'd like to submit an affidavit of compliance.
We'll accept that, thank you. Any questions for the code officer?
That's to me, just the question is, so the back was.
Was overgrown. He cut
overgrown.
the front, I
Cut
took
the
the
front.
notice, but left the back overgrown.
And then you found the front came back to overgrown.
Yes.
Okay.
But it's all in compliance now.
But it's all in compliance.
If there's no other questions, I'll entertain a motion.
Yes.
Thank you.
Give him a break.
Yeah.
Okay. In case number 23-3693, I move that the city has proven by a greater weight of the evidence the following violations of the City of Temple Terrace City Code did exist on the property located at 202 South Lockmore Avenue. Section 10-3, subsection B. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from the Code Enforcement Officer, Jose Silva, along with any other evidence, including photos, affidavits, and the notice of violation, all of which is received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move that there be no fine imposed because the violations were brought into compliance prior to the date of this hearing.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion, second by David. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, no nays, motion carries. Next case, please.
Case 233714, City versus Real Bay Investment LLC for the property located at 412 Courtney Drive. The case is before the board based on an alleged violation of Section 10-3B, sanitation grass weeds. The case will be prosecuted this evening by Code Compliance Officer Jose Silva. City has evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were properly served.
Thank you.
Good evening again, Jose Silva, Code Compliance Officer. This case originated on July 21st, 2023. My inspection at the time noted the front yard grass of the residents to be overgrown again. This time I completed a notice of violation with a compliance date of July 28, 2023. Posted notice at the vacant home as well as City Hall. Copies were mailed, both certified and regular mail, to the address of the registered owner and agent. My inspection on August 8th noted the front yard grass to still be overgrown. This time I'd like to submit photographic evidence. The notice posted at the front door, 2 and 3 of the front yard grass overgrown, and also an affidavit of compliance.
Oh, great. We'll accept all that. Thank you.
I love
Any questions for the code officer? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll do it.
Thank you.
In case number 23-3714, I move that the city has proven by the greater weight of evidence, the following violation of the city's Temple Terrace City Code existed on the property located at 412 Courtney Drive, with the applicable code violation, Section 10-3, subsection B. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from the Code Enforcement Officer, Jose Silva, along with any other evidence, including photos, affidavit, and the notice of violation of which received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move there be no fine imposed because the violation were brought into compliance prior to the date of this hearing.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No nays, motion carries. Next case, please.
Belkin for the property located at 513 Montrose Avenue. The case is before the board based on alleged violation. We'll start that over.
Okay.
Case number 233760, City versus Gokiki Belkin for the property located at 513 Montrose Avenue. The case is before the board based on alleged violation of Section 12-860, inoperable vehicle, outdoor storage equipment. The case will be prosecuted this evening by Code Compliance Director Tom Baroni. The city has evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were properly served.
Thank you.
Good evening, Tom Baroni, Code Compliance. This case this evening originated by me on July 24, 2023, when I observed 3 heavily damaged vehicles stored in the driveway without vehicle tags. I then issued a door hanger with a reinspection date of July 27, 2023. My reinspection noted on no change on July 31st, 2023. Therefore, I prepared a notice of violation with the compliance date of August 6, 2023. Since the home is unoccupied, I hand-delivered the letter to his business on Fowler Avenue and requested copies to be sent out certified in first-class mail. I also requested a copy to be posted at City Hall for the 10-day requirement. On August 3rd, I received a phone call from a neighbor stating that a semi-wrecker transporter was dropping off more vehicles at this location. I spoke to the homeowner that morning, and he stated that by Friday of that week, the vehicles would be removed. My inspection on the 28th of August noted only 1 vehicle still remained in the driveway without a vehicle tag. That same day, I prepared the paperwork on the inoperative vehicle violation to be presented tonight at the MCB hearing. At this time, I'd like to submit photographic evidence that was taken by me. Exhibit number 1 shows, on July 31st, shows the front door posting of the notice letter. Exhibit number 2 is taken on July 31st, shows the 3 inoperative vehicles in the driveway. Exhibit number 3 is taken on August 3rd, shows the auto wrecker parked in the street area, dropping off vehicles. Exhibit number 4 is taken on August 7th, 2023, where the photo displays vehicle with heavily front-end damage. I'd like to submit at this time.
We'll accept all those, thank you.
I did receive many complaints from neighbors about the activity that was taking place. I did assure them that the violation was being addressed, and I also spoke with the respondent on 3 occasions. As of August 31st, 2023, the property is now in compliance, and there I'd like to submit an affidavit of compliance.
Accept that, thank you.
Can I ask a
Sure.
Tom?
Yeah.
Is he operating a business there?
No, he claims he's not. The home is for sale. I believe he put one vehicle in the garage, which is fine. But as far as evidence for running a business out of there, no, I don't see that.
'Cause I'm concerned about the neighbors' complaints.
Yeah, so am I. I mean, honestly, there were
I know he's in compliance.
Do we know what, you said you had talked to him at his business?
I spoke to him on the phone the day the record was there the first time.
But you haven't been
I
out to,
posted the notice of violation at his business.
hey, what is his business?
It's the place on Fowler Avenue. It's the gyro place.
Oh, Euro Place, yeah.
Yeah, the Euro place.
New York Gyro, yeah.
Gyro. New York.
Gyro.
Gyro.
Okay, so his main business is not automotive?
No,
Okay.
no.
But he's probably receiving, and maybe just this is part.
Doesn't matter, he's in compliance.
Yeah, he's in compliance, I know, but
Right.
Okay.
as I mentioned to you, I'm concerned about the neighbors. We don't want it to
Sure, the
escalate
neighbors,
more, and, you know.
They know me very well, and they know that I was on it.
Okay. Any other questions for the code officer?
Thank you.
Code director?
Thank you.
Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll do it again.
Thank you.
Are you sure?
Yes.
I'll do it.
You got the voice for it?
Yeah, I'll leave the last 2, one for you, one for Gina.
All right, thank you.
Okay? This is, in case number 23-3760, I move that the city has proven by the greater weight of evidence the following violation of the city Temple Terrace City Code existed on the property located at 513 Montrose Avenue. Sounds like my neighbors, but with the applicable code violation 12-860. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from the code enforcement officer, Tom Baroni, along with any other evidence, including photos, affidavit, and the notice of violation, all which is received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move there will be no fine imposed because the violations were brought into compliance prior to the date of this hearing.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No nays, motion carries. Next case, please.
Next case is 233799, City versus Falcon Investment Corporation for the property located at 5301 Grove Hill Road. The case is before the board based on alleged violation of Section 10-3B, sanitation grass weeds, Section 8-10213B, exterior walls maintained in good condition, and Section 12-861E6, fences appearance. The case will be prosecuted this evening by Code Compliance Officer Jose Silva. The city has evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing were properly served.
Thank you.
Good evening again, Jose Silva, Code Compliance Officer. This is the last time you'll see me tonight.
Okay,
This case was originated on July 25th, 2023. My inspection at the time noted the front yard grass of the residence to be overgrown, exterior wall staining, and the side yard chain link fence in disrepair, along with accumulations in the yard. This time I completed notice of violation with a compliance date of August 9, 2023. Posted notice at the home as well as City Hall. Copies were mailed both certified and regular mail to the address of the registered owner, and the notice violation was sent to the agent by email. My inspection on August 14, 2023 noted the front yard grass still overgrown, wall staining present, and side yard chain link fence in disrepair, not uniform in appearance. The yard accumulations were cleared. I have photographic evidence I'd like to submit. The notice posted at the door. Exhibit number 2, overgrown yard grass and wall staining. Exhibit number 3, overgrown grass and the chain link fence in disrepair.
we'll accept those, thank you.
Also with those photos, I'd like to submit an affidavit of compliance.
Okay, very good, thank you.
I did have contact with the agent this morning. She contacted me on the phone. So I did have contact with somebody.
Okay. But it is in compliance. Thank you.
One of the violations, correct? Violations there, or just one?
There's 3 violations.
They're all
They're all in
clear?
compliance. They're all in compliance.
If there's no other questions, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll do it.
Thank you.
In case number 23-3799, I move that the city has proven by a greater weight of the evidence the following violations of the City of Temple Terrace City Code did exist on the property located at 5301 Grove Hill Road I gotta do this. With the applicable code violations, section 10-3 subsection B and 8-102 subsection 13 subsection B, as well as section 12-861 subsection E subsection C,
Subsection 6.
subsection 6, sorry. The motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from the code enforcement officer, Jose Silva, along with any other evidence, including photos, affidavits, and the notice of violation, all of which is received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move that there be no fine imposed because the violations were brought into compliance prior to the date of this hearing.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion?
Aye. No.
Sorry. Too soon.
Any further discussion?
Sorry.
Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? No nays, motion carries. Before we do the next case, I want to read something to you all. On this particular case, should you find the respondent in violation of the applicable code, there was a little bit of difference. This is a tax receipt case, so the fine is a little bit different. So I want to read to you the section. So section 14-63, delinquency penalty based business without a tax receipt. Any person who engages in any business, occupation, or profession covered by this article who does not pay the required business tax within 150 days after the initial notice of tax due, and who does not obtain the required receipt is subject to civil actions and penalties, including court costs, reasonable attorney fees, additional administrative costs incurred as a result of collection efforts, and a penalty of $250. And there's a state law reference if we need that later. So this particular case, it would be a lump sum $250 fine, since unless you have other administrative costs that gets tacked onto that.
No.
Okay.
No, but we're gonna have 2 separate fines if the board, go ahead, maybe Ernie can explain to you.
Because if you make a finding of both, because there's 2 violations, if you find that both violations do exist, one being lump sum, one within the.
He needs you on the mic.
Yeah, we've got section
So we would ask
10-35, which
for-
would be a normal,
We would ask for
Right.
2 orders
Yeah.
because, just for the ability of the city clerk to be able to maintain, I'll talk to you after you've heard the evidence, and if you, I'd like to get up before you start a vote.
okay, so what we end up ultimately doing is 2 motions. One, which would be our normal motion for the 10-35, the sanitation, and then for section 14-59, it'd be a lump sum, if you find them in violation, of $250.
I wanted to understand, this is the yearly, tax receipt, operating within the
Local
city of,
business tax
yes,
receipt.
yes.
Yes.
And they have not done it, this is the first
Well, we
time?
haven't heard the case yet.
Read my testimony.
Yeah, haven't heard the case yet.
Oh, okay.
Tom Baroni, Code Compliance. This case this evening originated proactively on August 8th, 2023, when my inspection revealed a white van parked on the non-durable surface, overgrown conditions, weeds impeding the sidewalk and street gutter. I also noted a painting and flooring business within the city limits that requires a local business tax receipt. Due to the past history at this property, a notice of violation was prepared that same day with the compliance date of August 14, 2023. The notice letters was posted at the front door of the resident. I also requested copies to be sent out certified in first-class mail. I also requested a copy to be posted at City Hall for the 10-day requirement. My inspection on the 25th of August noted that the yard parking and the overgrown grass are now in compliance. However, the impeding weeds in the still are not neatly trimmed on the sidewalk of the street gutter, and the local business tax still remain out of compliance. At this time, I'd like to submit photographic evidence that was taken by me. Exhibit number 1 shows the front door posting of the notice letter. Exhibit number 2 shows the weeds impeding the sidewalk. Exhibit number 3 shows the weeds not neatly trimmed in the street gutter. 4 and 5 are screenshots showing that the homeowner has Hillsborough County local business tax, but they don't have the city of Temple Terrace. Okay? Exhibit number 6 shows the Sunbiz showing the business at this principal location of 524 Lanton Circle.
Very good.
I'd like to submit at this time.
We'll accept all that, thank you. But just for clarification, as we sit here today, all code sections 1035 and 14-59 are still not in compliance.
That's correct.
Okay. Any other questions for the code officer?
I never read it out, so do you want me to go ahead and read it?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Which case we're talking about?
Yes, yes, please.
This is going to be in reference to case 23-4022, City versus Maria Garcia and Ashley Girardi for the property located at 524 Lantern Circle. The case is before the board based on alleged violation of Section 10-35 sanitation abutting property and Section 14-59 local business tax required. The case will be prosecuted this evening by Code Compliance Director Tom Baroni. The city has evidence that the notice of violation and notice of hearing are properly served.
Thank you, and if we do that in the future, just feel free to interrupt.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry.
Thank you. You have a question?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Let me just understand this. It's not a business, it's a home?
It's a residential home.
Residential home.
That's running a business out of their home.
And-
They're running 2 businesses.
They're running 2 businesses.
2 businesses.
Two businesses.
Painting and a flooring business.
They're running it out of their home.
Yep.
They don't have an office, they're using their offices out of,
According to Sunbiz, their principal place of residence is the home.
Right.
Place of business.
Yes.
but, you know, let me understand, maybe they're using that as an address or an actual
They're
look?
running the business out of that home.
Yeah, okay.
Whether they're using it as an address or they're actually using the business, doesn't matter. The Sunbiz says that's their principal place of business. That's their official business
So if they want
address.
to pay for their bill, they're going to mail a check to that location at 524 Lanton Circle.
Gotcha.
So, in this day and age, I don't know, is there a law against running a business out of your house?
There's certain occupations that you can run out of your house.
Okay, but not these 2?
No, you can. They just
They just need to pay the tax.
obtain
Oh,
local
okay.
business tax here in the city
Well,
limits.
let me ask you
So
this,
there's-
maybe it's neither here nor there for this case, because you haven't brought it in front of us. They can run the business out there, but they can't park their trucks there, right?
Well, the vehicles that they have there now have no decals on it,
Okay,
but they were removed.
okay.
But they're that's the principal location
Okay.
of that business.
Yeah, so they can, I mean, if it's an acceptable business, they can run it out of their house, they just gotta pay the business tax,
They
which
have
is
the-
why
They're
they're,
not paying the business
Business,
tax.
right,
Right,
exactly.
they
Either
have the
one of
county
them.
ones, but they just not getting the city of Temple Terrace.
Got it. Which isn't that
That's,
much.
that's why I asked you this question, because I'm assuming, you know, like if you're an engineer and you do some plans and you have a computer at home and you're just operating as an engineer out of your home,
Okay.
are you required to get,
It's your principal address that you have through Sunbiz.
it'll be that home.
then you need to pay the tax.
So as long as Sunbiz says that it's your,
That's your principal location for your business, yes.
that, then we have to, you know, this is good to know, I did not know that.
Just
I-
like you have
know.
to pay the business tax for the city.
I know,
As well as.
because I have a
Yeah.
spot and I have an
Right,
operation
exactly,
going
yeah, same
actually
thing.
in a commercial area. This is really
Tax doesn't
different.
discriminate between.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I'm
Addresses
saying,
in commercial
but they're allowed to operate commercial businesses out of their home as
Certain
long as they
ones, yes.
obtain
Certain ones.
certain businesses,
As long as they obtain the right license.
the right licenses, which is, what's the fee on that? Do you have any idea?
They vary. Some are $45, some are $60.
Temple Terrace.
I
is
paid
cheap.
like $89 for my
Temple
shop.
Terrace is very inexpensive.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's inexpensive.
Yeah, I know, but,
All right, any other questions?
Dave.
Dave, go ahead.
Have you talked to him?
No, I have not. I wish they would reach out to me, but I have not.
Okay, if there's no other questions, I'll entertain a motion.
Thank you.
My turn.
Okay, thank you.
All right, in case number, I'm sorry, one quick second. Do I have to
We're going to
address?
do two motions.
Do I have
What-
to, oh, I see.
Both of them are going to read this similar.
Okay.
There'll be the normal fine for the 10-35, and then the fixed fine for 14-59, since they're both not in compliance.
I would make a finding on one, maybe vote on it.
Yeah, I'm gonna make, yeah, two motions,
Got it.
two separate motions, pretend they're two different cases.
All right. In case number 234022, I move that the city has proven by a greater weight of the evidence the following violation of the City of Temple Terrace City Code exists on property located at 524 Lantern Circle, the section 10-35 sanitation. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from the code enforcement director, Tom Baroni, along with any other evidence, including photos, affidavits, and the notice of violation, all which is received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move the said violation be corrected on or before October 11th. If the respondent does not comply with this order on or before that day, they are ordered to pay a fine for each and every day the violation continues past the date set for compliance. Upon considering the following factors, the gravity of the violation, any actions taken by the violator to correct the violation, and any previous violations committed by the violator, I move that the fine be $25 per day.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion is second, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no nays, motion carries. Next motion.
In case, I'm sorry, I just assumed I was doing the next one. We're good
That's
with
fine, go.
that? In case number 234022, I move that the city has proven by a greater weight of the evidence the following violation of the City of Temple Terrace Code exists on property located at 524 Lantern Circle. This one is section 14-59, local business tax required. This motion is based on the sworn testimony this board has received from Code Director Tom Veroni, along with any other evidence, including photos, affidavits, and the notice of violation, all of which is received and entered as part of the record of this hearing. I further move that the said violation be corrected on or before October 11th. If the respondent does not comply with this order on or before the day, they are ordered to pay a fine for each and every day. Sorry.
It's a lump sum.
One-time fine.
They are ordered to pay a lump sum fine of $250.
Okay, we have a motion, do we have a second?
Second,
Motion is second, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
aye.
Opposed, no nays, motion carries. That finishes up our new cases, I believe, right?
Yes.
And on to unfinished business.
Rod, you seconded the second one?
Yes, for the 250.
Unfinished business. Case number 230734, City versus Joseph and Alicia Tessaseca for the property located at 9804 North 55th Street. The deadline for compliance was August 9th, 2023. An affidavit of noncompliance was submitted by Code Compliance Officer Doug Allen for sections 10-34 and 12-9122, dated August 11th, 2023. Case number 230793, City versus Dulcia Victoria Olson for the property located at 8706 Triple Oaks Road. The deadline for compliance is tonight at midnight. An affidavit of compliance was submitted by Code Compliance Officer Doug Allen for Section 8-10213C, dated September 5th, 2023. Case number 231696, City versus Mission Street Homes LLC for the property located at 7815 Ballara Drive. The deadline for compliance was August 9th, 2023. An affidavit of noncompliance was submitted by Code Compliance Officer Doug Allen for Section 12-921 dated August 11th, 2023. Case number 23-2060, City versus Ron Mogerman TT Holdings LLC for the property located at 12909 North 56th Street. The deadline for compliance was August 9th, 2023. An affidavit of non-compliance was submitted by Code Compliance Officer Lori Smith for sections 12-1047, 12-1049, 12-1043, and 8-1661B dated August 10th, 2023. Case number 23-2894, City versus Mission Street Homes LLC for the property located at 7815 Bullard Drive. The deadline for compliance is tonight at midnight. Case number 23-3104, City versus Von Hoff Reese Ann for the property located at 423 South River Hills Drive. The deadline for compliance is tonight at midnight. Case number 23-3161, City versus Tobias and Renee Gluck for the property located at 10608 North 52nd Street. The deadline for compliance is tonight at midnight. An affidavit of compliance was submitted by Code Officer Doug Allen for Section 12-921 dated August 16th, 2023. Case number 23-3293, City versus JGC2 LLC for the property located at 5406 Rainbow Drive. The deadline for compliance is tonight at midnight. Case number 23-3313, City versus 123 Home Run LLC for the property located at 9408 Hidden Ridge Place. The deadline for compliance is tonight at midnight. An affidavit of compliance was submitted by Code Officer Doug Allen for Section 8-28A1 dated August 11th, 2023. Case number 23-3494, City versus Sohail Munawar and Sadia Sohail for the property located at 8727 Morrison Oaks Court. The deadline for compliance is tonight at midnight. An affidavit of compliance was submitted by Code Director Tom Baroni for Sections 8-1022 and 8-1021 dated August 15th, 2023. I also have 3 that are not on the agenda. Case
Okay.
number 226653, City versus Helen R. Carl Brown for the property located at 707 Aberdeen Circle. An affidavit of compliance was submitted by Code Compliance Officer Jose Silva for sections 10-34 and 8-10222 dated August 24th, 2023. This is no longer an accruing lien. Case 23-1334, City versus Catherine Lockwood Fleming for the property located at 206 Greencastle Avenue. An affidavit of compliance was submitted by Code Compliance Officer Allen for Section 8-10213C, dated August 23rd, 2023. This is no longer an accruing lien. Case number 23-2234, City versus Home SFR Borrower LLC, care of Havenbrook Homes for the property located at 605 West River Drive. An affidavit of compliance has been submitted by Code Compliance Director Tom Baroni for Section 10-4B7, dated August 23rd, 2023. This is no longer an accruing lien.
Great, thank you. Any other board action? Quarterly interest we're not doing. New business, before Ernie gets up, anybody else have any new business? Ernie, the floor is yours.
All right. First, wanted to report, as you see, there's 4 cases. Those are all connected to the same property. That's the case number 20-5509, 22-0203, 22-5294, and finally 23-2060, which we had just covered on unfinished business. That is, with all those liens out there and some of them being life safety issues, I did send a letter, demand letter to them. It just got delivered today. So just wanted to give you an update on that. I told you about that one, that I was going to be doing that. As I was going to send out another letter, I was looking for another, case to do that, and came across, in doing so, I came across 4 cases that I'd like to bring to your attention, that I'd like to do some housekeeping on, because I don't believe they should be on the liens list anymore. So if you don't mind, I'd like to go through those. The first one I'll go through is actually the second one on there, which, or I'm sorry, the third one, my apologies. Case number 090441, that's 7717 Gulf Court. This property was, went through foreclosure and was foreclosed out. Let me kind of go over that briefly with you. The property goes into foreclosure and we have a lien on that property. If our lien was recorded after the mortgage was recorded and it goes through the foreclosure, then to the point of a certificate of title, when that gets issued, our lien does get wiped out. All right, and on that, and also on cases where, and that's in those cases where we've recorded the lien prior, again, in that window prior to the foreclosure action, but after the mortgage. So we're second in time. We go by first in time, first in right. So everything after. There are times when we'll be doing a foreclosure case and the case is, a code enforcement case, and we'll bring it to you and we'll record a lien, but the property is in foreclosure. When a property gets foreclosed, they'll run title work. And they'll catch everybody that has a lien on it and they'll name them as defendants. And then file what's called a lis pendens, an LP. That puts everybody on notice that this property's in foreclosure, and if you record anything after this, it's going to get wiped out. That prevents them from having to do a title search every, couple of months or whatever to make sure they got everybody. In this case, 77-17 Gulf Court, that lis pendens was issued on January 30th, 2008. Our lien was recorded June 11th, 2009, so after the LP. The foreclosure finished on July 7th, 2010. That's when the certificate of title was issued, and that's when all liens are wiped out, including that lien. That lien was released, but this case is still on the liens list. We really don't have a lien on that property. That people lost it. So I think it'd be a good idea to clean up the liens list and remove that from it. So I would be asking the board to make a motion to remove that case from the liens list, that lien, so we can release it and clean it up. And I'll do that at the end. I want to go through each of these so that you understand I did the research to make sure on each of these that it should be taken off of here. This isn't a matter of, and in no way am I trying to set some sort of precedent that, so far, you wait long enough, the city will get rid of it. That's not the case at all. This house, the people lost the property, belongs to other people now, and we did release the lien because of that foreclosure, so I'd like to take it off the list.
But we didn't voluntarily release it, it gets wiped, right?
Well, we did file a release. That cleans up when the new owners took over, they
But we
asked.
didn't have a choice. It wasn't like we, out of the goodness of our heart, we decided to.
No, right.
We didn't
And,
have a choice.
usually they'll pay for the cost of the release, so.
Okay.
Ernie, can I have just a quick question before you go on?
Yes.
When you say also it's got wiped, my concern also, did they come in compliance?
That, they did because it was not an active lien.
Oh.
But that doesn't matter. If the lien's still active and it gets wiped out, if the violations are still active and it gets wiped out by foreclosure, if it gets extinguished, I should say, what we have to do is bring a new case against a new owner.
Okay.
A new property owner if
That's
there's
what,
violations.
yeah, that's what I'm trying to say, yeah.
The same thing with 708 East River Drive, that's case number 09-1480. This is another case where our lien was recorded after the LP, which was November 3rd, 2008, and before the CT, the Certificate of Title, which was 8/25/2010. Our lien was recorded November 3rd, 2009. So again, in that window, in this case, we had not released the lien, but the foreclosing attorney had sent us a letter back in, I think, after the property had been foreclosed, saying that needs to be released, and I never saw a response to it, but it does need to be released, and it does need to come off of the liens list. Case number
Before you
09
move on, Are you gonna need two motions, one to release and one to remove from the list? Or you're just gonna release it?
We'll release that one because by
statute,
order of law,
okay.
we've got, by operation of law, it's,
Okay.
case number 09-1205, that's 320 South River Hills Drive. We have on this list as the property owner, Housemart Holdings. And I went through the title, went on the property appraiser's database to see, kind of follow the track the deeds on that. And I never saw where Housemart Holdings was ever the owner of this property. In fact, I have the deeds here. The other thing too is the case, the order itself was actually against the registered agent. And so we are maybe clouding title of that registered agent, which is another reason we need to clear this one off the lien list. The lien itself was released as to the property a few years ago, but I'd like to get it off the liens list and clean that one up too. Okay. The last one is case 07-0183, this was a business located at 9340 North 56th Street. That was Maids of America. And this was a violation for not paying the business tax. So it was a $150 violation. The issue there was we inadvertently, remember this was a tenant in the property, and we inadvertently liened the property, which we couldn't do with the tenant, for this type of a lien. So it had been released years ago. The business is now inactive, the Maids of America. So again, it's a $150 lien. I think we should probably clear this one off the list also.
Okay.
Again, precedent being, business doesn't exist anymore, and the lien was released. So for those, if the board sees fit, we'd love to see these.
Can we do this in one motion, or do you need separate motion for each case?
I think we can do it in one motion.
Okay. Somebody want to make a motion to remove these four cases from our lien list?
The four cases, which
The first four.
Case 07-10183, 09-0441, 09-1205, 09-1480.
Okay. I'll make a motion to release these cases, the following cases. Case 08.
You're not releasing anything. It's already been released. The motion is to remove them from the lien list.
Yes, I make a motion to remove these cases from the lien list. Case 07-0183, case 09-0441, case 09-1205, case 09-1480 from the lien list.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No nays. Motion carries.
Thank you, and as I come across these, and I feel, and I'll present them the same way, tell you why I think they should be released. Again, for those watching on television, this isn't a
We
matter
talked about that
of
already.
Yeah, but
waiting
we
too
didn't-
long.
That wasn't part of his motion.
Didn't need to be. He's filed demand on them.
Oh,
So just 0183,
Okay,
044, yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, the first one on there, with the four case numbers, that is not a release.
Oh, okay.
Looking to get those off the liens list.
got it.
In fact, we are pursuing those.
That's the business property with,
Yeah,
I go there all the time, and there's trash everywhere,
yes.
it's pretty bad.
So once again, I just want to emphasize, if I do bring these to you, it's not a matter of, oh geez, these have been out there for a while. Our liens do, by the way, only last for 20 years. But if there's, in the cases where, people have lost the property, it's been foreclosed, or like in this one where the business is out, gone and all of that.
Gotcha.
I'll track them.
Thank you.
But anyway,
Anybody else have any new business? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
second.
Motion is second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No nays? We are adjourned. Thank you all. Good job. Just, again.